and kick it off this morning. And we Chris Doyle had dental surgery yesterday, so he is out of pocket today. I told him to just take 2 Percocet and come on board with us, but he was ready to say something. His wife told me yesterday when she was calling to tell me he wasn't going to make it, that he was sleeping in the front seat. They were stuck in traffic, and he was saying, "You're going to have to unplug the projector. It's overheating." She was like, "What projector?" So once you get network marketing in your mind, you just can't get it out, Percocet or not. So he's with us in spirit this morning. But we got co-host Brent Palmer, Tracy Ternberg, and Anthony Moreland with us. It's going to be a short morning, but it is going to be a fantastic morning. Before I forget, I got a list of notes here. Tracy Ternberg is going to start on Monday, and he is going to do a renewed testimonial of the day. So if we can right now, what's front and center on my mind, if you have a renewed testimonial, will you go ahead and go to the chat? And Anthony, it would even be okay to unmute just for a second. And Tracy, I'm going to let you share what you're doing, and then let's get some feedback. Who has a good renewed testimony? And Tracy can book you in right now for what day you want.
Let's, I tell you what, Todd, if you're willing and able to do a testimony, I just put my email in the chat. Just send me an email, just for the sake of time and coordination of whatnot. And just send me an email. We'd love to do it. Gonna do a little, give you a little bit of a clue of what it might look like. I don't know if we want to watch one. Brent, should we show Ashley's?
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's Coach would be fine with that. Let's watch one of these renewed testimonies.
Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and watch that and see what it looks like. I got to find Ashley's first though. And this will give you a little bit better clue of what it's, what to expect when what you're volunteering for.
Hi, my name is Ashley Paulson. I am 37 years old and I live in Northern Colorado. All of my life, I have dealt with not getting enough quality sleep. I am not a morning person. My husband and my kids all know not to talk to me until I've had my morning coffee, until I found Renew. I am so thankful I found this product. I get the best quality sleep, best REM sleep, and in the mornings, I'm waking myself up instead of the alarm clock. Take the 28-day Renew challenge today.
So really short and sweet, guys. These are highly shareable. We want them to be highly shareable testimonies inside of Level Up during the 28-day Renew challenge. So if you're willing and able to share an awesome testimony from sleep to libido to energy to recovery, anything. We've got a lot of people that are actually saying that their hair is coming in thicker and gray is going away. So regardless of what your testimony is, if you're willing to share, we want to hear your story. So make sure you email me to set something up so we can do this every day in the month of May.
Tracy,
awesome. Tracy,
thank you for doing this. And I one of the things that this is going to be so good. So everybody on here, don't think your testimony is not important, because people will identify with your age. They'll identify with where you're located in the world. They'll identify obviously with what you're having, and the best testimonies to me are the short and the sweet. Just the, oh my gosh, I sleep through the night and I get up refreshed. I haven't had the drive that I once had, in my marriage, but now I do. It's just, it's things that go along with what people identify with. And so don't discredit your testimony that you're having with Renew. And I got to give a plug to Renew. I came down with something just a few days ago, and I told Tracy and Todd, I said, I don't know if it's the flu or what it is. Chris Doyle was telling me this. I don't know if it's true or not, but he's like, just take 2 of them. Chris's answer is just take more, right? It just, if you're supposed to take one, take four if you're having problems. And so I started taking multiple ones, and it's unbelievable that I'm here this morning because I did not feel like it just a day ago. So excited about this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've got
Brent,
2 renewed testimonials lined up this morning just to kind of give everybody a kickoff. But both of these testimonials I need you both, Gus and Melissa and Andrew, to reach out to Tracy and get lined up so we can get it professionally done and get it dripping. But testimonial number 1 coming from New Jersey. He's always from New Jersey, but he lives in Naples, Florida. But today he's in New Jersey. Gus Campestre just signed up 2 ultimates in New Jersey day before yesterday. I tell you what, if you've never done a 3-way to 3 guys from New Jersey, you've not experienced network marketing yet. I tell you, you can pass that mustard test. You can do a 3-way to anybody. They're a tough bunch up there in that part of the world. But Gus got them in with an ultimate anyway, besides the fact I was terrible on the 3-way and answering their questions. But Gus, can you come live with us and share a little bit about you and Betty? I know lost about 50 pounds apiece. Your before and after picture, I'm going to pull it up as you begin to talk, is just phenomenal. But tell us about, and you've got a renewed testimony, and tell us about your new signups. Gus? If you're there, Gus, you're going to have to unmute. I know you're there because you're texting me on the phone. You got to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
We got you now.
All right. What I was saying is Todd's 100% right. When you get a bunch of Jersey guys, you got to fight the talk because everybody got something to say and nobody wants to give up the stage. But you were terrific, and I appreciate it. Yeah, this story, my journey started about 7 years ago when Todd gave me a call. And at that time, I was, 58 pounds overweight, pre-diabetic. You name it, I was taking it, every pill you can imagine. And, we made the decision. We got 4 grandkids, and I'm 72 now. And we decided, one of our main goals is we just wanted to see a great grandchild someday. And at the rate I was going, that wasn't going to happen. So we got involved. I lost 58 pounds. My wife lost 34. But much more important is we kept it off through the years. And I've been part of this wonderful, wonderful company. The difference now with Renew, I started taking Renew. Now, remember, I'm 72, very active. Todd knows I'm on a boat all the time, jumping in the water, flying up to Jersey, seeing baseball games. That's what I'm here for today, see my grandkids. And, and I just wanted to be able to keep that up. And when I started taking Renew, it was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I'll give you one quick example. 8 weeks ago, I had what they call a laminectomy. I had a bad case of stenosis where I couldn't even walk without a cane. And it did require an operation. And because of whatever reason, it had to be done as an outpatient because there wasn't enough beds or whatever in the hospital. So they did it as an outpatient, sent me home, said the nurse would be there. And they hooked me up with a drain, and it was all that. And during that whole time, I'm taking my Renew. And by the 3rd day, I was at an event. Quite honestly, it was a beer festival. And I was at that event, man, just, feeling, doing things that I hadn't done in a long time. And when I went to see the doctor about 2 weeks later, he said, your recovery's, phenomenal. And I said, well, I'm taking a lot of quality products and getting a lot of good sleep, feeling good, not feeling as a 72-year-old man. And I attribute it totally to these products. Of course, you mentioned it to the traditional MDs, and it's, hey, that's great. Take this pill, which I would not take. And, and now I'm just a total, great word is warrior for this product because I believe in it. And with the 2 guys the other day, these guys were, same thing. I met them, they signed up. And what's interesting is they both were taking the products before they signed up, and they had their own, you know, they wanted to know, well, what, you know, how do you promote this? How do you quote, even sell this product? I hate that word, share the product. And I said, you've been telling me for 40 minutes about your hands feel better, you're sleeping better, blah, blah, blah. That's your story. It's that simple. You tell the story. So again, I can't say it strongly enough. This Renew is phenomenal. This company's phenomenal. And again, not to sound condescending, but we got the greatest team in the world. We truly do. They're good people. They care, and they're there for us. That's a fact. So thank you, Todd, for having me on.
Yeah, Gus, one more question for you before you
Yep.
go from a business standpoint, because we're always about leveling up our health and our business. But you work this very part-time. You're retired. If people follow you on Facebook, you're on your boat every day. You have your toddy every day about 5 o'clock somewhere, which is 10 a.m. your time. But you did two things that I think are remarkable. Number one is when you first joined, you went all in, and you and Betty got to your perfect weight, came off all medication. You still now have a really enjoyable lifestyle, but you've kept all your weight off now 5+ years. And you put in 3 ultimates in the last couple of weeks. You put in the gym owner down in South Florida, and then 2 gentlemen up in New Jersey. Tell us a little bit about how you're doing that on just a part-time basis, but really spending 90% of your time enjoying life, watching he's got a grandson that's going to play professional baseball, travel baseball, goes 365 days a year. You're just always a part of everything.
Well, I tell you, you know, the story kind of tells itself. What I do generally is I personally, I've been in the business about 21 years, full time, believe it or not. You know, worked overseas, worked different things. And with the prior companies, it was about money. Hey, guys, we can make a lot of money doing this. We'll blow this whole thing up. And when I first started, you know, I didn't know any better, you know, with New Age. And, you know, that's the way I went at it. And it was okay. But the trouble is that everybody, you know, in 2 weeks, you know how that goes. Where's the money? You know, I haven't made my $1 billion yet. So what I love to do is I love to lead with the products. You know, I talk about just my story. I tell them, you know, how we did lose weight. See, at my age, unfortunately, Todd, you're hitting that too. At a certain age, you can't work it off. You know, you get a guy my age and he eats 6 pieces of pizza and he says, well, I'm going to shoot some baskets. I'll be fine. Hey, it don't work that way anymore. So you tell your story. You tell people that it's not only for the younger ones, you know, if they are in shape, they all want to get better. We were at the table with that Jersey guy, and the one kid's 22. I didn't even realize that. But the other guy had him in the middle of the restaurant, pull up your shirt and show him your 6-pack. And when he did, I said, man, that ain't nothing, man. You ought to see what some of these people using our products have. But we're in the middle of the restaurant. This guy got his shirt up, you know. I was, well, that's Jersey. Nobody even paid attention. So bottom line is I talk about the products and then say there is also an opportunity. And the way the company is set up now, most people, you know, when they buy a pack, well, yeah, I'd like to try to weight loss or renew or whatever. They're close to 200 points anyhow. And I say, hey, let's turn that into some money. And, you know, a lot of it too is the lifestyle. You know, they often, when I tell them I haven't had a job since I'm 51, you know, and, you know, people tend to want what you have, but are they willing to do what you did to get that? And, you know, we tell them that we can do it. And the biggest thing is your supports, truly. It isn't one of these things where I tell them, you're not going to sign you up and say, go get them. It ain't going to happen. That never wins. What we do is we try to tell them, hey, we're going to do this and we're going to do it together, because we will not be financially successful unless you're successful. You got to get paid first before we get paid. And that's just the way it is. So kind of tying it all in, Todd, you know, I just, again, it's stories and you can back into the financial part of it. Unless you get a guy like Chris Doyle who says, yeah, the pills, that's great. Take 2 of everything. How can I make some money at this thing? You know, you got them too, you know.
Well, Gus, thanks. I know you're up in New Jersey with your family. Thanks for getting up with us before you head off to the baseball game. Y'all enjoy your day. You're awesome.
All right. I appreciate all you guys. Thank you. Thank you for asking me.
Thanks, Gus.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Well, Brent, why don't you walk through with Andrew and Melissa and Anthony? I know they had a big meeting on your team in South Mississippi, and Andrew and Melissa, they according to them, they got a spark back in their marriage with this renewed.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. And I want to say this though to everybody. Gus, what Gus is saying is so powerful. And I know Todd talks about this a lot. Coach talks about this a lot, is business is really just conversation. You know, that's really truly what it is. And so many people's looking for the silver lining word or phrase or catch point. And it's like, no, it's just conversating with people. You know, you get into a talk, and before you know it, Gus has got a 20-something-year-old with his shirt off in the restaurant, and you know, nobody in Jersey's paying attention to it. And then he starts to talk about how his products work. And before you know it, they signed up. The most powerful thing he did was he got Todd on a 3-way call immediately. He probably didn't set up an appointment. He just called Todd and said, need you on the phone right now. And of course, you know how Todd is. He jumps on the phone.
Brent, only a guy from Jersey could pull this off, but you're talking about your products, and 50-year-old man showed you his 6-pack abs. He said, oh, you ain't seen nothing yet without our products. So, hey, being able to come back on the fly, that's a big piece of this. That's awesome, Gus.
It is. And just the fact that it's our industry is not set up to be strategic, meaning this has got to work this certain way. It just happens if you're out conversating, having conversations with people. So, you know, before we get to Andrew, Coach, I want to say this about this event. I'm going to have Anthony, if you will, put it up there. This event in Colorado, I know Todd Rowland, Chris Doyle, Tracy Ternberg, as well, Andrea Rosser is actually flying in. Crystal Vance flying in for this event. Tammy Motby and Robin DeMio and a host of leaders around. I could go through it, but you can see them all on here. Is going to be at this event in Colorado Springs 2 weeks from today, actually. And so we'll put the Eventbrite in the comment section. But here's what I would tell you: we're flying in from across the country. If you're anywhere within driving distance, if you can drive, you know, 4, 5, 6 hours, it will be worth your time to get to this event, because we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about how this business, we're going to teach how this business is ran through just conversations, you know, and it's super powerful. So get your ticket. I know there's a limited amount of seats for this event, so don't wait around. I think it's like $20 to attend, and they're going to feed you lunch. So what better thing could you, you know, that's super cheap. So be at this event. I just wanted to put that out there, Coach. Look forward to seeing everybody there. And then I was just on the phone with Anthony Moreland this morning talking about Melissa and Andrew Jackson, and watching what they did in Gulfport, Mississippi over the last few days. There's so many great teaching points to this, and I'm going to turn it to Anthony, but me and Todd both messaged Anthony and said, that's the key to $1 million business in this industry. It's just connections. It's spending time with people. You know, Todd's constantly in a different area around the country, just connecting people together and finding ways to connect people together. And, you know, just Friday, I was in Pulaski, Tennessee, doing the same thing, connecting people together. So there's no magic wand. It's just getting people together. And Anthony, y'all blew it out of the park. You and Andrew and Melissa signed up several brand partners, several customers over the last few days, and talk to us about what went on during that process. And also don't forget to talk about the presentation and how simple you made it. So Anthony, congratulations, you and Andrew and Melissa.
Absolutely, Coach. And these last few days, well, this week has been absolutely amazing. My goal when I came down was to show them how to keep it simple, how they don't have to overthink it, how they just simply share their story, talk about a few of their products, because I know we have a laundry list of products, you guys. But you got to find out what you want to talk about. Would it just be straight renew? or maybe Renew and 2 or 3 other products. I told them which ones were their 3 or 4 favorite products they could not go without. They told me. So yours may be different, but theirs was just Renew, it was Moa, it was Slenderize, and Blue Foam. That was their 4. And I said, you know what? We're not going to talk about anything else but those 4. And I love being duplicatable, because knowing me, I can pull out a piece of paper, I can draw all the circles and show people how to get paid, because I did all the research to know how. But Melissa and Andrew may not be able to do that, or their friends may not be able to do that. So Coach, I took your play video and I put it in my presentation. Renew is a new product for me, so I don't know all the ins and outs. So I took the Renew video and I added it to my presentation. My presentation that I was showing with all their friends and all of their church members, their pastor, and even at the party, it took us 15, 20 minutes. We was in and out. They introduced me, they shared their story, what they had did for them. And we went from that. I did the little presentation, showed the little videos, and then we just sat there and was quiet. And we let them, I said, so what did you like best? And they tell me, I was like, well, okay, well, how do I get started? Everybody was like, how do I get started? Because it was so simple. It was something that took little time, no time at all for a lot of times. And that's just all we did, whether it was in 2-on-1 or it was in our big event. And it's just absolutely amazing being around them, because everybody here, just like we love them, they love them the same way here. So I told them that.
So Anthony, you did something very important, you and Melissa and Andrew, and I want everybody to understand this because it's huge nuggets here. You went in before the event. So you had an event, you had I call it a party just because it sounds better to me than a meeting. So you had a party where you invited some people and you had that set, but then you went in a day early and did some 2-on-1s and just coffee shops and jumped on Zooms with people to kind of build the energy around that event. And I think that's super powerful because, you know, whether you're doing Zooms or whether you're doing events like this business I can look back, whether it's Gus, odds are, I don't even know the Todd, how Gus came to the business 20 something years ago, but odds are most of you came to the business through a 2-on-1 of some sort, meaning think about how you came in. And so it's the 2-on-1s, it's the little small things, Anthony, that you guys did. And then you bring them to an event where they see a bigger picture, like they see a bigger vision of what it can be, you know, and I know I came to the industry on a 2-on-1, and then I showed up to an event in Fort Worth, Texas that gave me a bigger vision, and that I flew home and said, this is something I'm going to really do big. So talk to me about how you did. I mean, you know, leading up to that, and obviously let's bring Andrew and Melissa on because it's their connections. Andrew, Melissa, maybe we bring you on with Anthony. Let's just talk about that really quick. Like what'd you do to set up these 2-on-1s?
Okay, before Anthony came from Dallas, we said, look, what we're going to do is we're going to talk to people. We're going to set up appointments before you come so they can be the first thing we do once you get here. So we were truck shopping for our son rather. And we were just looking around and let me let you go ahead and tell the story.
Well, we was looking around. We was truck shopping. We was looking around. We stopped at one dealership that had one that he was somewhat interested in, and the salesman was she come out and she said, "Come on in, you know, sit down at my desk and see what you're doing." I said, you know, looking at the she was drinking the energy drink, one of those Red Bull energy drinks. I said, "Hey, you know, how would you like to make some money by drinking our energy drink?" And she's like, "Well, yeah, I'm interested." I said, "Okay, all right." So we walked outside so we wouldn't actually be in the dealership talking about this here. So we walked outside, looked at the truck, and she did her spiel. Once she did her spiel, after she got done, I invited her to a 1-on-1 for lunch. and we had lunch, and Anthony did the presentation. Anthony did the presentation at the Firehouse Sub. So it was like
We bought a lunch.
we bought her lunch. She was at the meeting, and she eventually signed up as a brand partner.
How long, Andrew, Melissa, did the lunch take? I mean, so you did this
15
over
minutes.
lunch, 15
I was
minutes.
timing it, Brent. I said, we're gonna say just we're gonna critique it along the way. So about 15 minutes. In and out.
Love it. So Anthony, maybe jump in because you did the presentation. What'd you show?
I just let her talk for about 2-3 minutes. I always let the guests talk, get to know them a little bit, and then Andrew and Melissa, it started it off, and then I started the presentation. I talked about pretty much the company, who we are. I love showing everybody that you don't have to be an expert, so I always show Deanna Latson and her whole team of doctors. And then I talked about 4 products. I just talked about the house of brands, and then I said, well, we're gonna dive into 4 real quick ones. I gave like 1 or 2 aspects of Moa, Slenderize, Blue Frog, and then I let the Renew video go for Renew, and because it's a nice little cool little video. And when I get Tracy's little videos, I'm gonna use those depending on who I'm talking to, and then after that, I say, yeah. And then you just kind of choose a pack that works best for you. But you know what? You can get paid with doing this. My good friend, my mentor, he made this little video that teaches you how you can make some money and really maximize this. Let me hit play here too. And at the end, she was like, well, how do I get started? And I was like, oh, where's the objection?
Yeah, we were shocked.
The objection.
There's so many nuggets around, and I hope everybody on here this morning is not, because somebody like Todd or I mean, Tracy Ternberg has never had another job. Like I shouldn't say that. I mean, as a kid he worked, but I mean, other than a professional career, it's been network marketing since day one. But this excites me. I get to shaking in my chair a little bit because it's like, this is network marketing. This is what we fell in love with. When my son asked, Dad, what do you do? I'm just like, son, I don't know. I just have conversations with people. I mean, I was in Pulaski, Tennessee Friday, just having conversations with people. And that's what I love about our industry. You know, it's what drove me to the industry, is that you can make a lot of money and build a huge business if you're just willing to get out and conversate with people. So Melissa, Andrew, Anthony, one of the things that I want, whether you're Cindy or you're Connie out in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, like you're going, I want to do New Age big. If you're willing to invite people to one-on-ones and have a 2x2 partner. See, Andrew and Melissa had a 2x2 partner in this event, Anthony Moreland. And they started inviting people to one-on-ones, meaning that didn't matter. Firehouse Sub, people make fun of me because I'll do a 2-on-1 at McDonald's, and they're like, that's not going to help this place. And I don't care. So wherever you can do a 2-on-1, it might be a Zoom, might be anywhere, but you start inviting people to a 2-on-1 and you start building those little conversation pieces. And then you have a weekly meeting. So I was talking to Anthony this morning. Anthony would tell you, I said, Anthony, are y'all going to start doing weekly meetings down in Gulfport, Mississippi? He said, absolutely. Melissa and Andrew is going to do weekly meetings because those 2-on-1s happen. And then the weekly meetings paint the bigger vision for people. And then you get a little presentation together. And Anthony, I don't know if you want to send out your presentation, whatever, but you get a little presentation together. It's just super simple and duplicatable. And you talk about your products that you take, like, it might be the Renew, it might be the Rejuvenex, it might be Tahitian Noni, it might be, it doesn't matter. Your 2 or 3 products that you take, or 4 products, and that's it. So I get excited because I'm going, every single person on here that wants to do this, whether you're Dr. Bob or you're sitting in Canada or you're up north where it's still cold, or you're down south, like, you all have the ability to do this. And it doesn't take, it's not a rocket science. It's not the silver lining. It's just conversation. And so, Tracy, you're sitting here listening to this, Melissa and Andrew and Anthony, guys, y'all don't know the nuggets you poured out this morning on this, but what are you thinking right now? I mean, you've been in this for 28 plus years. Sometimes it's 30 years when I say this for you. You've been in it a long time. What are you hearing this morning?
I'm hearing the golden nugget, the secrets of this industry. You know, people are always thinking like, how do I mass recruit? And it is back to what they did. Have a conversation and just share the simple, duplicatable aspects of what we do. See, people like to make this, you know, we all like to sound smart, right? I mean, we do. We like to show how much we know, and we'll talk about the science of the product. But man, I tell you, when you talk to a prospect and someone that doesn't understand that, what they're thinking in their head, I can't do what Brent just did. I can't do what Deanna just said. So keeping it simple, like Ant said, is such a dynamic key factor in what you're doing, and using like things like the play video and using the renew video and in the renew 28 challenge testimonies we're going to be coming out with. That is stuff that anybody can share. And that's what makes them think at the end of the day, like, there's no objections. I can see myself doing this business because it's simple. I could offer you a job right now, Brent, to say, listen, I want you to be the executive marketing director for BMW. And you'd be like, I don't know what that entails. I mean, I have no idea what that job looks like. Now, I'll have to pass. Not that you couldn't do it. It's just that you don't know how to do it. So you pass on an opportunity that was probably really good for you. But if someone said, listen, hey, Brent, we're looking for somebody that's going to come in and show the everyday use of our product, which just happens to be a BMW. Do you think you could do that? And you'd be like, absolutely, I could do that.
Absolutely.
I drive a car every day. And so when you present to people in a way that is so fantastically awesome, sometimes you lose them because they say, I can't do that. And so keeping it simple is one of the biggest key dynamics in this entire industry. Absolutely nailed it on the head.
Yeah, it really brings it back home and goes, and Coach, I'll turn it back to you. But if I'm sitting here right now, like you are, and I am, and I go, man, I nobody knows about New Age in my hometown. What I need to do, grab a 2x2 person, somebody to be able to jump on a 3-way with, have a 2-on-1 meeting with, and start inviting people to that. And then set a weekly meeting. Like your weekly meeting, I'm just going to be honest, it might suck at first. It might not be very good at first. But you know what? If
I didn't even tell you that, Brent. I didn't tell you.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
It was not the most perfect meeting, everybody. Ask Jason, ask Peggy. We have the down. We had a truck, a delivery truck, come deliver beer right in the middle of us. And guess what? We just kept going. We didn't care. We looking at them like, hey, and just let it happen. We just let it flow naturally. It was not perfect, you guys. It doesn't have to be perfect. But when people see you have the passion that we did, they didn't even care. Matter of fact, one of the ladies who just joined as a brand partner is on this morning, and she could unmute and tell you it wasn't a perfect meeting. It wasn't. It was nothing perfect about it, but we made it happen. We didn't let the obstacles stop us, and we just shared with our hearts.
I want to say something real quick.
Absolutely.
If I may.
Yes.
Some of the guests that we invited, Brent, sometimes we tend to prejudge people and think maybe they don't need what we have. And so we're getting in the habit of not doing that anymore. We used to do that. So it was 3 people from my church that I decided, would you come support us in our event, in Pass Christian, Mississippi? We'd love to have you. It may be something that may be for you or may not, but just come support us. And they was like, sure. One was, well, my situation, I don't have a vehicle. I said, that's no problem. We come pick you up. And actually, she's going to be signing up next week. She said, you just don't know. I have been struggling financially, and I've, been asking the Lord for something other than my Social Security. I've been praying for it, and it was confirmation when you invited me. So I was like, oh man. So I took her to the side, after everything was said and done, and I didn't give her a whole bunch, but she was really excited, and she wants to join on next week. And about the obstacles, oh, Brent, we had a boat with loudspeakers playing. We had the beer truck coming in, and we were all looking, but we kept going. We kept rolling with it. But that's all I wanted to say.
Live, here's the thing, and Todd or Tracy, any of us could say this: the most imperfect things turn out to be the most perfect things. I mean, I could tell you some stories now of being in places that was crazy. You can't make this stuff up, but it turned out to be a beautiful thing. And so, I hope that's what everybody draws from this morning is we all have the ability to grow this thing, and everybody's hometown is negative. How many times do we hear that? Oh, people around here are just negative towards network marketing. Listen, that's in your mind, and that's everywhere. If you're willing to have conversations and bring people and just realize it does not have to be perfect, that it just relax and have fun with this. And man, you can build a strong army. Coach, I'll turn it back to you. You might have some things you want to add, but this has been great this morning.
Brent, I tell you what, great is an understatement, because for anybody that's here that wants to go really change their life financially, you just heard the blueprint. And we could train for 8 hours on a Saturday how to do it. We could tweak the perfect PowerPoint. We could find the perfect video. But it's really just about activity and following a couple of golden rules. And that is keeping things short, keeping things focused, and really going to people on their own time. I know that one person that Andrew and Melissa had invited to their meeting was their pastor. They had spoke about that a couple of times, and the pastor canceled on them. I don't know if it was something in a schedule or whatever, but instead of being defeated, Andrew and Melissa and Anthony set up a time to go do a 2-on-1 with the pastor over lunch. So they flipped him canceling into a 2-on-1. So that's, Brent, sometimes people look at you and they're like, how does Brent make so much money? And they do that with a lot of the top miners. And that's really, we just stay busy on those key income producing activities. And the last thing I want to hit on that y'all said is that, I think Melissa's the one that alluded to this, but guys, you have a diamond in your hand that can change people's lives on two fronts. We have something that can help with any number of health issues. You just have to become a great listener, because they're going to tell you what those issues are. And then if you've been plugging in like everybody is this morning to the Zooms and the trainings and the doctors and the YouTube videos, you're prepared for the moment when the person says they have hormone issues, or they're not sleeping good at night, or they have low energy. If you've plugged in, you got the solution. And then from a financial standpoint, Brent, you and I have been hitting on this, and Chris has hit on it, and everybody knows it that's been in our industry, is we did go through a couple of years of pretty good times. The Trump economy really hummed along. And then when Biden got in office, he gave out a lot of money. So there was really, if you look at every spectrum of our society, people had money in their pockets, from young to old to you name it. But across all borders, it doesn't matter now what spectrum of the political side a person is on. It doesn't matter where they are in the hierarchy. Stocks are coming down. Houses aren't selling as much. Mortgages are going up. There is no free money. So the same thing now, and opposite is happening, is every spectrum of society does not have as much spendable income as they had 12 months ago. And I don't care where you are in that spectrum, your lifestyle generally is going to meet up to your income flow, no matter what it is. So when income flow subsides or inflation goes up, which eats up more of your income, and you can't tweak it, you start, as the lady told Melissa, you start praying for something to enter your life. So if there's, it may be the first time in a really long time that there are a lot of people praying for our business model into their life. They're not going to know it's coming dressed in network marketing or multi-level marketing. They're not going to know that it's going to be coming called New Age. But what they're praying for is more income, more time freedom, better retirements, getting out of debt, cash flow, college education money, all of those things. And guys, we have got it. Last thing, Brent, we'll conclude this up, is we need to, as a team, we talked about this last Saturday, but we want to really up our tools. So we're going to launch this new Renew with the company on Monday, but we're going to do the Rev Up for Summer on Level Up Life simultaneously. So just as a review, if you weren't here last Saturday, we want every single person, whether they're on this call or not, to take a before picture. We do not care what your journey is. We want Renew to be a part of it because we're going to coincide with the company. But if you want to renew and slenderize, then you're going to renew and slenderize. If you want to renew in noni, then that's going to be your path. If you want to renew with a Facoit and seaweed and some great Lemu, I got a couple bottles of Lemu in last night. When I run out, I forget how good that stuff tastes. I'm assuming it's really helping me, but I can drink the whole bottle for dinner. I swear that stuff tastes good. I love noni too, Tracy. Probably the reason I can't lose weight. I'm drinking too much noni and Lemu. First person going to get fat for drinking too much health drinks. I'm addicted to it. I'm glad Moa comes in the pouches because I get tired of opening up pouches. I can drink a whole bottle of that too. But you find your product design, and we want you posting starting on Monday every day. Brent Palmer, I'm telling you, you posting every day has got me so fired up. Like, we got bike week down here in Panama City, and it's got me a little distracted. And I'm looking at Brent running and sweating and jogging. I'm like, I got to get my act together. So you have no idea when you post on that website your activity. And I wrote a few things down just to give you ideals in case you don't know what to post. Post your daily routine. Post when you drink water. Post your meal prep. Post your dish you're eating. Maybe you cook one of Tammy Maltby's recipes out of her cookbook. Post your recipes. Post just anything that pertains to our level up journey. But then we want to conclude the 28 days with an after picture. Oh, by the way, post, as Brent's been doing, your workout. Kristen Doyle is on a 60-mile bike ride this morning. She couldn't be with us. But starting on Monday, she will start posting the workout of the day for the week. You're going to do one of Kristen's workout if you want to do beast mode, but you don't have to. You can do level up phase 1. You can do level up phase 2, but we want to go all in. And I'm going to share this. And then Tracy, I know you've got some things ready to go for that. I'm going to turn it back to you and Brent. But yesterday I did a meeting for a 22-year-old girl. And that's not a market that I'm real good at. I mean, I'm weight loss, I'm MOA for inflammation, I'm build a better retirement. Like, everything I say naturally does not fit a 22-year-old girl's mind. So I went in there thinking in my head, I cannot do my presentation. I have this little presentation kind of built for them where I've got Anthony on the picture using his, I call it a phone-based business. So I went in with a phone-based business, but I didn't even know what product to talk about. So what I did is I asked a couple of questions. I said, we got a particular product that really helps with stress and anxiety and hormonal levels. She said, oh my God, that's me. She said, I got this going on, I got that going on. So I immediately started talking about Elite. And I never left Elite the whole meeting. So my presentation was on Elite and her drinking in her water, paying $29.99, and then figuring out a way to get 200 points of product. So what I did is I went to the app and I pulled up the app and I showed her all the social media posts for Elite that they now have in there. I showed her the PDF for Elite. And then I went to Level Up. And I realized I didn't have any young people, so I canceled out of that. And I went to James Zing TikTok, and I just showed her what James is doing on TikTok with it. So it reminded me that we have got to as a team, really flood this Facebook group with video. So Brent said it as we started, it doesn't matter if you're 70, it doesn't matter if you're 20, doesn't matter if you're losing weight, if you have, if it doesn't matter what you're trying to get accomplished, we need that footage. So when every one of us is presenting, we can just go pull the footage, play your video. hit your before and after and people can relate. So Brent and Tracy, I'll turn that back over to you. But Brent, I'm going to start keeping pace with you on Monday. I do got to go see Kid Rock at the Bike Week tonight, but starting Monday, I am leveling up once again.
Well, and I hope, I hope this kind of finds somebody where somebody is this morning. I know there's somebody here but over the last couple of weeks, can you hear me okay, Todd?
Got you loud and clear.
Over the last couple of weeks, I've really struggled with my health journey. And, you got to find that this is just a lifestyle. It's one of those things. It's going to be ups and downs, and we've got to be able to hit the reset button and be able to, but the group is so powerful because it gives me a place to be consistent. And, I hope everybody finds that it's a consistent place for you. So Tracy.
Yes, sir. I want to see what Todd Rowland's like when he's really excited. That's what I want to see. That's my goal in life, to see Todd really, really excited. So, no, I agree with you. Being consistent is the thing. And I too have been struggling with just being extra busy. And I know that's a stupid excuse, but it creeps into your life in a way that if you don't set it as a priority, crazy busy can take over your life. And so level up starting Monday, guys, we're going to flood it with renewed testimonies. So make sure you email me if you want to share. And if you don't email me, we're going to call you anyways and get you to do it. So either way, if you're on this call, we want you sharing your renew story. And like Brent said, regardless of what it is, it's going to impact somebody. And that's what we want, is we want impactful things that we can share, and the tools that we can reach people where they're at, regardless of where they're at their journey, whether they're 20 or 70, whether they're healthy, unhealthy, overweight, athletic, it doesn't matter. We want to get those stories into Level Up. And so that's the whole thing. Just post and just do the activity. And I promise you, if you just set it for the next 28 days, you're going to come out in the next 28 days a better version of yourself. What else could you possibly ask for than to be a better version of yourself 28 days from today?
Thank you, Tracy, for giving up your Saturday morning with us and putting your, Tracy has a unique skill set on these Zooms, his edit capabilities, his quality. So thank you for getting this prepared. It's going to be really, really professional. Many of you know this, and I think it's the secret to network marketing, but Brent, Tracy, and I, none of us are on the same team. We're just all here independent of each other. But Tracy, you've been nothing but gracious and sharing since you arrived, and I cannot thank you enough. We were put together by a company, and it's been the most magical thing. So thank you very much. Brent, you've done the same thing. Thank you for being here. Anthony, thanks for co-hosting with us this morning. You're always amazing. Congratulations to the great meeting in South Mississippi that you were a part of this week. And everybody out there, have a super blessed week. We'll be back next Saturday, and then the following Saturday we'll be live from Colorado Springs.
Love you guys. Grateful for you. Have a great weekend.
Love you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you. Thank you.